I have a quick question for you. Did you know that some of the most successful people, like Einstein and Oprah and Steve Jobs, they all had one thing in common? Trusting their intuition. That little voice inside, that gut feeling that just knows what's best. Now, just for a moment, imagine that you have that superpower that's guiding you every day. Now, spoiler alert, you already do. Hi, I'm Marci Shimoff. I'm a featured teacher in The Secret and the author of Chicken Soup for the Woman's Soul and Happy for No Reason and the creator of Your Year of Miracles. So, what exactly is intuition? Well, in the simplest terms, intuition is that feeling of just knowing something without necessarily knowing how you know it. You just know it. It's that insight that bubbles up before your mind has a chance to really analyze it or to second guess it. And it's that kind of an instant yes or an instant no. It's that kind of gentle nudge in a direction that you might not even expect. Or it could be a flash of insight when you least expect it. Now, the word intuition, it comes from the Latin root. It means to look upon or to gain knowledge without rational thinking. And that's what makes it so magical. We don't get at it by logic or reasoning. Instead, it's just like this gift. It's this quiet inner knowing that just bypasses our usual thought process. And here's the coolest part. We are all born with this. I want you to just think back to a time when you were a kid and you followed your instincts before you even knew what the word intuition meant. I want to share a quick story with you. It's about a very dear friend of mine, Deborah Poneman, who was my co-leader in Your Year of Miracles for many years. And she had an experience with her fabulous daughter, Deanna, when Deanna was just a baby. So Deborah and her husband, Fred, were interviewing babysitters, and they felt a little overcautious, as new parents tend to be. They took their time, and they finally found a young woman whom they loved. She was funny, and she was responsible, and she was charming. But every time they handed little baby Deanna over to her, Deanna would scream her head off. And Deborah couldn't understand it. They wanted to give the sitter a chance, but her daughter's reaction made it kind of impossible. And guess what? A couple weeks later, that babysitter was arrested for some very serious offenses. And it turned out that Deanna's screaming was actually her own intuition's way of saying, this person isn't safe. Now, I think that's really, really incredible. And here's the thing. We've all had that kind of pure, unfiltered intuition. We had it when we were kids. But as we grow up, we start to doubt that voice. We get busy. We start to give a lot more value or priority to logic over those gut feelings. And pretty soon, we don't trust that inner guidance. Just know you're not alone. Here's the good news. Even if you feel like you can't access your intuition right now, don't worry. It hasn't abandoned you. It's like a muscle. If you stop using it, it weakens, but it doesn't go away. It's right there waiting for you to tune back into it. And that's what we're going to work on today. So let's dive into these 3 steps to strengthen your intuition. Step number 1, listen to your gut. The first step to developing your intuition is that simple. Start paying attention. Start listening to it. Notice when you have that little gut feeling, and it could be about which road to take or whether to go to an event or not, or even if you're sensing something about a person, just like baby Deanna did. Instead of brushing it off, honor that feeling. And even if it seems silly, if it seems counterintuitive, give it your attention and give it your respect. You are going to be amazed by how often it's guiding you in the right direction. In fact, I always like to make a game of things, so you can make a little game of it. You just start asking your intuition easy questions like, what would be good for me to have for lunch today? Or what color socks are calling to me? And just notice what you feel. And the more you do this, the stronger your connection gets. And then it gets easier and easier and more fun. I remember that there was a time when I felt a really strong urge to call a friend out of the blue. I hadn't spoken to her for a long while, but something just nudged me inside to reach out. And guess what? When I did, she told me that she had been going through a really tough time and she really needed someone to talk to, and that the timing of my call was perfect. It was that intuitive nudge that didn't make sense, but it was there for a reason. Step number 2 is to make space for silence. Our intuition thrives in stillness. And if you are always on the go, if you're always doing a million things at once, multitasking, or you got tons of noise around you, it's really harder for your inner guidance to reach you, to connect with you. And when you've got 3 or 4 different thoughts or tasks that are competing for your attention, there's not that room, that spaciousness for the intuitive whisper to come through. So here's what I recommend. Create little pockets of silence throughout your day. During this little moment, little pocket of silence, just take a few deep breaths, or go for a short walk without your phone, or spend just a couple minutes meditating. Even Einstein said that his best ideas came to him when he was relaxing or on a walk. When you are quiet, when your mind is calm, your intuition has its chance to really step forward and guide you. And then finally, there is step number 3. And step number 3 is ask for guidance. If you're feeling lost or confused or even just curious about something, just take a moment and ask for intuitive guidance. I do this all the time. When my mind is spinning, I will pause and just take a deep breath and ask myself, what do I need to do right now? What do I need to know right now? And then it's really important to stop and listen. So it's not enough to just stop and ask. Then you got to listen and act on it. And it's often just so amazing how a thought or feeling that is going to come up that's exactly what I need. Another way to ask for guidance is to use a tool like oracle cards or pendulums, or even just journaling, where you write the question down in a journal and then you free form write and let come whatever will, without any editing. You want to give yourself the freedom and the permission to experiment and to find what works best for you. As I said, intuition, it's a muscle. And the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So I suggest that you play with these 3 steps. Listen to your gut, make space for the silence, and ask for guidance. And then just notice what happens. I'm going to place a bet that you're going to be surprised by the little miracles that begin to show up for you out of the blue. Now, if you want a deeper dive into some easy steps that you can take right now to live in what I call the miracle zone, I've got an ebook for you that you're going to love. It's called The 4 Biggest Mistakes That Keep You from Living a Miraculous Life. And inside that, I share what to do, what those mistakes are, and what you can do to avoid them. That's the important part. So go to miraclesebook.com, or you can just click the link below and you'll be able to download your free copy. So I want to leave you with a beautiful quote from Alan Alda, who said, "At times, you have to leave the city of your comfort and go into the wilderness of your intuition. What you'll discover will be wonderful. What you'll discover is yourself." So if you're ready to dive into that wilderness, just try one of these steps today. Trust yourself, tune into that inner guidance, and watch what unfolds in your life.